Okay, you can hear it?
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the wonderful voice who introduces me. I'm Bonnie D. Let's get that music to just fade out. There we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited and thrilled. This is my first regular show launching the 2025 season. Everybody join me. Let's have a little bit of applause here. Last week finished my 5-week, 5-episode Crystal Ball prediction special where I talked to 36, Gabby, I think you're on one of those. I talked to 36 futurists spread out over 5 weeks about anything and everything to do with the future of AI and their industry, their wheelhouse, whatever their life's work was. So now we're back to regular shows, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have these 4 wonderful people. And I have to do a shout out to Dr. Gabby Burlacu, who is with us. I've known Gabby for at least a couple decades at SAP, and we've stayed in touch. And I said, Gabby, why don't you do my kickoff show for the start of 2025? And she said, sure, Bonnie, I have a great topic for you. So all these wonderful people are here, and we are live on LinkedIn. Everybody wave, LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook, wave twice. I'm on 2 channels. We are live on YouTube, and we're also live on the new Voice America YouTube business channel. And a shout out to my wonderful engineer, Jordan, who's been with me for at least a couple of years. So Jordan, thank you very, very much. So I have an introduction here that will set up our topic and a little gift for my guests. I think you will enjoy this. So listen up, and then I will have you all fill in the blanks on what I didn't say about you. So here we go. Welcome, global audience, to Technology Revolution's Glow. See, I'm glowing from happiness. Nothing else, Kelly. Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic, your host and guide. You know who I am, you know. Today we dive into a topic profound, the future of conversational AI, where hopes abound. Welcome to Technology Revolution. It's time to explore the future of work and life in conversational AI and so much more. Upwork Research Institute, a team leading the way, studying shifts in work to prepare for a brighter day. They analyze data, surveys, and trends, helping leaders adapt as the future extends. And, wait for it, with Hourglass Collective's fresh perspective in tow, they empower leaders to let innovation flow. They faced a challenge, research reports galore, so they created something different and really so much more. The Work Innovator Assistant was born to engage with AI and research. It's turning a new page. Today, these 2 teams share insights with me and you, how AI and research are changing what we knew. My 4 futurists now have taken their seat, sharing predictions that inspire, innovate. What a treat. Here we go. With a P, and each of you wave your hand when I call your name. I have a special stanza for each of you. With a PhD in I/O Psych to her name, Dr. Gabby Burlacu, took me years to pronounce her name, helps workplaces reframe their game. Inclusive cultures and talent to find. Her research elevates the work for humankind. From Fortune 500 to systems anew, Gabby shaping a future, hopeful and true. Gabby, I hope you like that.
Loved it. Wow. It's
Okay. Okay. Dr. Kelly Monahan is here. Curiosity fuels her quest to help the workforce navigate and do their very best. From Deloitte to Meta, her insights shine, bridging theory and practice with a future design. A voice for the human side of work's fast pace. Kelly transforms adaptation into a thriving space. Kelly, I hope you like that.
Move over, Dr. Seuss is all I can say. We've got a new rhymer in town. I love it.
I think I'm the only one in the world who introduces guests this way. Hold on, I got more. From architecture to tech, Tyler Shannon's story unfolds, where AI and design innovation he boldly holds. From Boston's home to Branson's Isle, he found his passion in tech's versatile style. Building tools that dynamically interact, Tyler merges AI with purpose, a visionary fact. I hope you like that, Tyler. He's smiling good.
Love it. Love it.
And then we have Bondi Blue iMac sparked Christopher Fridlington's fire. Now AI and software fuel his work desire. From AR projects to platforms that share, Christopher crafts tech with his creative flair. With a Middlebury grant and MIT stage, Christopher is shaping the future in our digital age. Christopher, did you like that?
That's excellent. Thank you.
We got a muted smile from him. I love it. So stay tuned, dear audience, as we explore a revolution in technology, automation, and more. Work and life meet conversational AI right here with me, Bonnie D, and my esteemed futurist. It's ours to steer. So, what'd you think? Do I get a thumbs up for the intro?
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I see 8. I'm waiting for 8 thumbs up. There you go. Have you ever been introduced that way, Kelly?
No, first time ever. And now I might actually have to be demanded to be introduced by rhymes moving forward.
We can make that happen. You'll come back on my show. I'm sure
That's
you will.
right.
There we go. I like to make my guests happy. So now that I've introduced you, I think there's a lot between the dashes. So let's spend about 3 minutes, each of you, and the order will be the order. Kelly, I'm sorry, first Gabby, then Kelly, then Tyler. I know Tyler's coughing and you'll unmute when you speak, and it's okay. It's that season, my friend. It's that season. A lot going on. It's 11 degrees here in Loudon, Tennessee. In case anybody's interested, my friends are traveling to Florida. They stopped in Valdosta, Georgia, and it's 0 there with snow on the cars. We're in the warm South here. No excuses for those of you up north. Just give us a little more of a bio about what you do. I only encapsulated just a little tiny bit for each of you. So we'd love to know a little more. Gabby, welcome back. Delighted to see you. And thank you for assembling this panel and engaging them for me. So Gabby, putting you on speaker view, fill us in. How have you been?
Sure. Well, I've been great. Thanks so much for having me back, Bonnie, and for letting me bring this panel to your show. We're really excited to meet with you today. So as you know, I am the Senior Research Manager for the Upwork Research Institute, which is led by Kelly Monahan. And as your rhyme expertly said, we do a lot of work to understand where work is headed and kind of how business leaders can prepare. And part of this is really thinking differently about how we get our research insights into the hands of business leaders. So today we're really going to talk about one exercise we did that, to my knowledge, no other research firm or institute has really done, which is to kind of put an AI engagement around research insights and really build a conversational tool where people can dynamically engage directly with the research. So we learned so much from that. We've learned so much about where the future is headed, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on today. So glad to be here. And
Thank
it is
you.
cold here too.
Where are you? Give us a clue.
In Oregon. Yeah, we're in the 20s, which is rare for here. So
It's balmy. That's balmy compared to us. I'll tell you. We had a power outage overnight, and I have no idea how long it was, but I know Mac was off. All of my equipment was off. And of course, the stove and the microwave clocks were blinking when I got up. But the house was warm, so it couldn't have been too long. Gabby, where did you get your degrees, by the way? Just so anybody wants a little alma mater information.
well, Portland State University has actually an exceptional IO psychology program. So here I still am in my hometown, and I was able to get the degree here.
Very nice. I was in Eugene, Oregon for many years. You know that. So we were almost neighbors back in the day. Thank you. Welcome back. Kelly Monahan, putting you on speaker view. Tell us a little more about yourself and welcome, Kelly.
Yes, well, Bonnie, usually I'm coming from a balmy Orlando, Florida, but we just got snowed about 2 hours north of us. So certainly it's the wild, wild west. And, but excited I'm sure it's a short-term thing here. But I'm originally from Rochester, New York, so no stranger to snow in winter. And I thought it was quite normal to have 120 inches of snow. I thought everyone lived that way until I finally left in my mid-20s. So that's a little fun fact about me. But I grew up, and it was during right at the end of the golden age of Kodak, where everyone almost worked there. So it was either Kodak or Bausch and Lomb or Xerox in Rochester, New York. And I saw this funny thing happening when I was in high school. More and more of my colleagues and classmates were disappearing. And it was because their parents were getting laid off from Kodak. Kodak shed about 45,000 workers over a course of several years. And that just really changed the economy of Rochester and really shaped at a young age my outlook of work and how quickly technology can come in and disrupt an organization. And so I dedicated my college years. I went to Rochester Institute of Technology and really began to study at age 18 the intersection of people at work and technology, because I saw the devastating consequences if we don't get this right. And one more quick fun fact about Kodak. Kodak invented the digital camera. They were the original patent holders and sold it because they couldn't figure out from a leadership perspective and a workforce perspective what to do with it. And they were fearful of it cannibalizing the large profit margins in film. So here we are. we're now here to talk about AI and specifically conversational AI. And it has been my motto to make sure that we disrupt ourselves before being disrupted because of those early years. And so I spent the last 15 years, kind of grew up through HR and consulting, was at Deloitte and Accenture, started some of their very first future of work research programs back in 2016. I still don't think we're quite in the future of work for what it's worth, but excited to talk about that today and figure out what's really new today from a research perspective versus the things that we're just putting lipstick on a pig and just calling different terms for really phenomenon that's been around for a while. And like Gabby, I don't have an IO psychology degree. I have an organizational behavior degree. So I tend to study more at that org level systems and the policies and programs that are in place that influence the way we behave at work. But very close cousin to IO psychology, and just adore Gabby and love being able to work together. And so right now, I mean, our research focus, we are all in trying to understand how AI is disrupting work. I have a strong belief that we can be doing better in the people analytics space and bringing much more science and data to the conversation. And so I'm happy today to hopefully help ground our conversation in research as we begin to think through what could be and should be over the next several years.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of notes for you. I was carrying around a very clunky but wonderful Kodak DX6490
Yes.
digital camera for years. I never went anywhere without it. I had to
Yeah.
invest in large handbags, purses, some of you call them, pocketbooks. Oh, that's way too old fashioned. Yes. I never left the house. I never went anywhere without it. I took everything from pictures in the rain. I used to prop it on the steering wheel when I stopped at a red light if I was driving at night or in the rain, and let it take pictures of the lights of the cars in front
Cool.
of me. The most phenomenal. It was like a light show with lights and traffic signs and street lights and tail lights. And I had such absolutely gorgeous modern art pictures, but I loved my camera. I still have it here somewhere. Now we all use this thing, this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with all the cameras on it. But I love my DX6490, and I'm a big fan. I also was a programmer analyst back in the day, and my first mainframe I worked on was a Xerox Sigma 6
Yep.
CP5. Tyler and Christopher probably have no idea what I'm talking about. A mainframe where the computer was in a warehouse with lights and blinking lights and all that, and I had a magnetic pulls like a rug layer did to pull up tiles on the floor for all the wiring, and the cables were under the floor. These computers were so big, and I remember when I was taking my degrees, I learned operations, and I had to climb up on a step stool and take what was a disk pack. Today, data is on a little memory stick. You don't know what that little thumb drive is.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was the size of a cake carrier. If your mom ever took a cake to somebody and she put it in the carrier with a handle on it, and it was this big because it was a 10-inch cake, that's what the disk pack looked like. And we pushed a button, and the disk drive popped out of this machine, and we put this in with the handle, and then it closed, and then the operator would start reading the data on the disk drive. Yeah. So I remember Xerox and Kodak. Those are my ties to Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you. That was beautifully put. And thanks for the memories. Thanks for jogging the memories. I
You
appreciate it.
got it.
Let's go to more modern times. Tyler Shannon, thank you for unmuting. Tyler, rescue me here. Welcome, Tyler. We met about 18 minutes ago, and I was delighted to see you. And you put up that lovely little hourglass collaborative logo. Thank you. And we can see it straight ahead, even though it's back to you. Tyler, putting you on speaker view. Please give me some more intro and welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, Bonnie. Really appreciate it. Excited to be here. My name's Tyler Shannon. I'm a principal strategist at Hourglass Collaborative. Hourglass is a technology and growth agency. We're based in Boston, Massachusetts, though I'm calling in today from northern Vermont, where it's very frigid. Um, Hourglass was founded in 2020 by my business partner and wife, Nicole Fichera, who herself is a designer and innovation strategist. Our name, Bonnie Hourglass, reflects our mission to leverage creativity and technology to help our clients save time and focus their work on what matters most. That's sort of our big passion at Hourglass. Our clients range from like large technical organizations like NASA and Upwork, all the way down to medium and small businesses in industries such as finance, fabrication, logistics, real estate, and so on. Bonnie, my career began in architecture. So I've sort of found a non-traditional way into technology consulting. But in my early career, I was doing building design for multifamily residential buildings in Boston, all the way down to private villas in the Caribbean. one thing that has been sort of a common thread through my career has been understanding and exploring the ways that technology can enable work. Um, and that has been sort of my driving passion and introduction into the world of digital transformation. And so now I help my clients adopt new technologies and really find ways to make impact with new tech. And I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And we had expected your wife, Nicole, to be on with us, and she had another appointment, a conflict, but I'm so glad you're here. And please convey my appreciation to her for sending her deliverables and her interest in being on the show. And we'll revisit this topic probably in a couple of months, and we'll make sure we coordinate with her schedule. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Christopher Fridlington, you're filling in for Nicole, but you're not filling in. You're here as Christopher Fridlington. I'm so happy to meet you. Christopher, putting you on full screen. Please finish introducing yourself from what I started in the poem. Go ahead.
Hey, Bonnie. Yeah, super great to be here and to fill in for Nicole. It's obviously an honor, and yeah, it's just so great to join you all. So I'm Christopher. I work at Hourglass Collaborative with Tyler and Nicole, and I am a software engineer for them. So I work on building a lot of the projects that we work on with external companies such as Upwork. So I helped build the AI research assistant that we built for Upwork's Research Institute, as well as like some data visualizations and things like that. My background, similar to Tyler, is sort of a winding path. It's sort of half architecture, half computer science. And I always had a real big passion for design. So I sort of came into technology from a standpoint of design and sort of these magical experiences that I wanted to understand how we're made and created. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you very much. I would love to be at what we used to call, Gabby, you'll understand this, and Kelly, a cocktail party in person where I got to meet all of you, especially Tyler and Christopher, because I think it would have been an interesting conversation instead of why haven't they fixed the traffic light at the corner and why have the water rates in the community gone up? I would love to have these conversations. I'm considered an early woman in tech from what I just told you a few minutes ago. And I was honored 2 years ago to be invited by Women in Big Data. Kelly and Gabby may know the organization. I was invited to be their kickoff speaker on International Women's Day. I think it was March 8th, 2023, 22, something like that. And I showed them pictures of what a mainframe computer looks like. And I showed them pictures of a key punch. And I showed them pictures of my COBOL programming handbook and green bar paper and what a core dump with EBCDIC coding looked like. And they were like, who is this woman from outer space and what is she talking about? They had absolutely no idea, but I had a blast pulling up pictures of a Xerox. Kelly, you know how hard it is to
Oh,
go
absolutely. I
and
know.
find pictures of the mainframe and the warehouse, like studio where the big warehouse it was in and what an office looked like. Anyway, it was a blast. So I'm really appreciating this. And when I went into computers, it was because I was a young divorcee with two children living 3,000 miles from my family. I was in Eugene, Oregon, and I needed to go to work real fast, just getting divorced. And my parents sent me a stack of brochures. X-ray technician, teacher's assistant, whatever. And the bottom of the stack was computer programmer. I said, what's that? What's that? I'm not telling you how long ago this was, but you'll understand if I was asking the question, you know how long ago it was. We didn't have cell phones, kids. Okay. So I called friends and said, what do I do about this? They said, there's a community college. You don't have a car. It's 2 buses away. Go. So I went and I said, I want to take your computer classes. And they said, sorry, they're all filled. I said, what? They said, oh yeah, they're filled. But here's the secret. Come to the class for 2 weeks, sit or stand in the back, and everybody, at least half, will drop out because they have no clue what they think they're getting themselves into. I went for 2 weeks. At the end, the class was half empty. But what I'm telling you this for is, in light of what Christopher and Tyler said, we had people who had started architecture school, people who had started med school and law school and nursing school, and they decided that wasn't the profession they wanted. And this thing called computer programming and operations grabbed their attention. I already had a bachelor's degree in psychology, Yes, magna cum laude. I didn't have any idea what to do with it because I needed to make a living and I didn't have time for graduate school. So that's how I ended up in tech. But it was quite a journey. So I'm appreciative that several of you came from other disciplines into tech. And I'm just delighted to have you here. Now, I've asked each of you to send me a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or a song lyric. And we're briefly I'll read the quote with a little bit of background trivia. I love my looking up. Gabby knows that. And then I will ask you to just unpack the quote and relate it to our topic today in your own words. So Gabby has picked a quote from Cher Horowitz, played by the lovely Alicia Silverstone. The movie was Clueless, a 1995 coming-of-age teen film, loose adaptation of Jane Austen's 1815 novel Emma. A beautiful, popular, wealthy high school student wants to do good deeds. We'll leave it there, and here's the quote Gabby has picked. What's the point? Everywhere you go has valet. Oh, Gabby, what in the world? Go ahead. Take about 2 minutes related to our topic, please.
This is why I love this show because I always learn something. I don't think I knew that Clueless was an adaptation of Emma. So, hey,
There you go.
but it is one of my favorites. And of course, she's saying that what's the point? Everywhere you go has valet as a response to should she practice parking and learning to park. And in her world, it's not a skill she's ever going to need, she thinks. And of course, this is super funny to the viewer because we know that even in 1990s Los Angeles, she's going to encounter a situation where she's going to have to park. There's not actually going to be valet everywhere. And I think it's such a beautiful metaphor for generative AI and conversational AI generally in our consumer lives, but also especially at work. I think one of the questions that's emerging, especially about incoming generations into the workplace, is, well, what's the point of learning to write well? What's the point of learning how to research, learning how to interact with technology and having that tech literacy if everywhere you go has a conversational interface that's going to do that work for you? And as we're going to talk about in today's session, the technology is advancing in amazing ways, but even so, we're going to need those skill sets and a bunch of other human skill sets to be able to utilize these tools effectively. So we're going to need to know how to park the car, so to speak. And I think that's one of the really important things that I'm hoping to get across to our viewers today.
Perfect. And it reminds me of something that Elle Wood might have said in Legally Blonde, right? You
Similar
mean
characters, yes.
Harvard? You mean it's hard? Okay, let's leave it at that. Kelly Monahan has picked a quote, a very, very popular and lovely quote from Ferris Bueller, Day Off, and the character Ferris, played by the wonderful Matthew Broderick. 1986 teen comedy. You're all picking teen movies. I don't know. I think they're life movies. I don't think we should call them teen. High school slacker Tusk Tusk Ferris skips a day of school, takes a joyride in Chicago with his friends, and he breaks the fourth wall, a theater term for he's talking straight to the audience. And this was a love letter from producer, director, writer John Hughes to Chicago. There we go. He wrote the screenplay in less than a week. Did you know that, Kelly?
No, fun fact. Did
Oh,
not.
yeah. I love my fun facts. Absolutely. It was one of the top grossing films of 1986, $70.1 million, and the budget was only $5 million. Oh, my goodness. They did well. Bravo, Ferris. Here's the quote. Let me get the quote up here. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Kelly, go.
Yes, I mean, first of all, Gabby, I have to give a shout out. That was like a very clever, creative quote. I went a little bit more literal. My friends call me the literal gangster. So I picked this quote because the world is changing so fast. And, people have, I think probably every generation has felt that to a degree. But I do think, and, Bonnie, I'll be curious if you agree with me here or not. I think what's different right now is the multitude of changes that are happening across almost every level of society. So as individuals, we're having to upskill and keep pace faster than we've seen in times past. As we think about organizations spending less time surviving and the S&P 500, not more, that's changing the social contract and our relationship we have with our work and our organizations. And then at a societal level, we just continue to be bombarded with social, political, economic crisis. We see the LA wildfires. I mean, we're kind of joking about the weather too, but this is, we just set a record in Florida for most snow ever occurred. And so life around us is changing in almost every domain at the same time. And I do think it's important. I don't want us to continue to be on a hamster wheel and just keep up and chase, which is why I like that quote. You do have to look around. And what I hope we can spend some time today is sharing. Gabby and I at the Research Institute spend a lot of time looking around and figuring out what's actually different today. And that's what I want to discuss. What are those changes? And then by all means, we have got to keep up because things are changing fast out there.
There you go. When we get to the predictions, we will cover that. So thank you, Kelly. Let's go to Tyler Shannon's quote. It's from Ted Lasso. Woot woot, played by Jason Sudeikis, Apple TV Plus sports comedy drama. It's not a teen show. It was from 2020 to 2023. This quote is from season 1, episode 2, called Biscuits. It originally aired August 14th, 2020, but you knew all that already, Tyler. Before starting his first day as coach, Ted brings shortbread cookies, known in Britain as biscuits, to the team owner, Rebecca, played by the magnificent Hannah Waddingham. He wants to bring her biscuits every day. She says, I'm not interested, but she becomes obsessed. She tries to find out where he buys them, but he's making them in his apartment. There we go. And the character was developed in a sketch that he did for NBC sports coverage of England's Premier League. That's where the character came from. Here's the quote. Taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse, isn't it? If you're comfortable while you're doing it, you're probably doing it wrong. Tyler, this is a gem. I can think of a lot of other things like that too, but we won't go there. Not that kind of show. Tyler, talk to me. What does this mean to our topic, please?
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. I think Kelly touched on change and the speed of change, and a lot of our work in digital transformation is really rooted in change management. And a lot of the time we work with our clients, we see this sort of discomfort with change and sort of resistance to change. But with the speed of everything, it's important to kind of embrace that, but it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be required to do things that you've never done before, learn new technologies that you've never had to use before. And just kind of relating this to conversational AI, it's kind of a new interface that we're now interacting with in a much more frequent way, sort of chat, natural language, and that requires sort of new skill development. And it's going to take some getting used to, both on the sort of consumer side, but also on the product side, understanding how to incorporate these new behaviors into the products we develop. So get comfortable with discomfort is sort of my advice with the changing technology landscape.
I like that. I think it's a very apt way of looking at it. And the people who say no, never, count me out, you couldn't, I won't, it offends me, it scares me, it's going to wipe me out. They got to get on that train sooner or later. But little by little, I think people will be coming to realize, Tyler, that they're already using a lot of AI in their life, but it's quietly maybe in the background, but it's in things they do every day.
Yeah.
And that's the surprise. I think we've been using the equivalent of that for many years. When I'm a writer and I'm working on a short story challenge right now, and every time I come up with a verb, an adjective, and I say, I know there's something better, I'll use the thesaurus lookup in Microsoft Word. It's coming from somewhere, kids. Somebody put all those words in, somebody tapped them in, somebody, and every time you click on one, there's a definition. Are you kidding? There's something automated going on in that background, and it might not be Alexa at that moment, but we have had this kind of, shall we say, assistive automation for years, and it's just getting more and more helpful. But we don't, oh my God, somebody put this word in there. Why should I? Come on, give me, I love to do voices. Thank you very much, Tyler. Lovely. We have got a whole scene for a quote from Christopher. I'm going to read the scene. I think you're all going to love it. It's from MI6 agent James Bond is talking to Q. James Bond in this one was Daniel Craig, and played by Q, played by Ben Whishaw. Skyfall. Skyfall. I don't like to sing, it kills the show. 2012 spy film. It's the 23rd film in the James Bond series produced by Eon Productions, the third to star Daniel Craig as James Bond, and Whishaw returns as Q, Javier Bardem as Raul Silva, Judi Dench, of course, as M, and on and on and on. Here we go. It was the 14th film to gross $1 billion worldwide and became the seventh highest grossing film, the highest grossing James Bond film of all time. I'll leave the accolades alone. Here we go. So Q says, I'm not going to do accents. Do you want to do accents with me, Chris, or you want me to read this? Want me to do it?
You're all set. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought so. Okay, here we go. Q says, it makes me feel a bit melancholy. Grand old warship being ignominiously haunted. A way to scrap the inevitability of time. Do you think? What do you see? And Bond says, a big bloody ship. Excuse me. Q, 007, I'm your new quartermaster. Bond, you must be joking. Q, why? Because I'm not wearing a lab coat? Bond, because you still have spots. Q, my complexion is hardly relevant. Bond, your competence is. Q, age is no guarantee of efficiency. And Bond finishes, and youth is no guarantee of innovation. Wow. Pots and kettles calling each other something. I don't know. I got to go back and watch that clip. Christopher, could you please unpack this one for us? Everybody's saying, what in the world did he have in mind with this? Chris, go.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Sorry to pick such a long one
No,
too.
I love it. I love scenes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a scene. He's sitting in front of, they're in the National Gallery in London, and they're sitting in front of this old painting by Turner, and it's a warship that's being towed out to sea. And sort of the main theme of the scene is this old guard versus new guard coming in, and the warship and the painting sort of is symbolic of that. So I think that is sort of what I was trying to get at and relate to where we are now with artificial intelligence and specifically conversational AI. As you said, we have had a sort of automated assistance for a long time. And sort of now we're sitting at this point where we're starting to see this shift. And that's sort of what this scene means to me, and sort of is the scene that's shifting that point in the movie as well, where, sort of age isn't a guarantee of, efficiency, and youth isn't a guarantee of innovation. I really liked that line for sort of, symbolizing where we are right now in terms of artificial intelligence and how it's changing the workplace.
I agree. Youth is not an indicator of innovation, and neither is age on the other end. And it's all a question of your mindset, accepting reality. It's here. The horse already, some of you will know this quote, the horse already out of the barn door. You can't close it and put it back in, right? The tube is already out of the toothpaste. Try putting that one back in. I've tried, never mind. Thank you very much for your quotes. Very, very interesting. And let's go to the predictions. Gabby, I'm going to combine two of yours, and let's make this, I want you to translate this and unpack it into lay terms, because not everybody in our audience is a researcher. So if you could put this into practical terms. So Gabby says, and I'm going to combine your two predictions, AI will increasingly be an integral part of the research process, but those who fail to also learn the basics, and you know what research basics are going to put some shoddy insights. And then she says, business leaders will increasingly demand a faster way to consume data-based insights. When research organizations don't provide this, they'll just build it by themselves. So this is a don't be a laggard warning. Gabby, why don't you translate this into lay terms for all business leaders? Take about 2.5 minutes. Go ahead. I'm not clocking you, but you know.
Well, so at the Upwork Research Institute, of course, we, like many other teams and organizations, do use internal GPTs as part of our process. And the more that we've done that, the more I am struck by how many small moments of human judgment actually still occur in the research process. Research seems really conducive to AI because ultimately it's numbers and it's objective. But the truth is there's a lot of human judgment and decision making that goes into it. So let's say two numbers are different from one another. Is the difference statistically significant? Are sample sizes large enough? Is the difference interesting? Is there something business leaders can do about it? All of these are points of human judgment that I think you can start to bake into an AI tool, but without having that foundational knowledge, you don't really know what the output is telling you. So I think there's a little bit of a cautionary tale here. Should we be using AI tools as part of the research process? Should doesn't matter, because we increasingly are going to. But to use my earlier movie quote, do we know how to park the car? And should we still know how to park the car? I think absolutely. So then on the flip side, the way that business leaders are consuming research. So we developed this Work Innovator Research Assistant, and that is our AI conversational interface for directly engaging with the research insights that the Upwork Research Institute puts out. One of the things that was very exciting about this was that it is more or less the first of its kind. I haven't really seen a tool like this accompany a research report. But what I have seen is business leaders using conversational tools to consume things like our research report on their own. So going back to those internal GPTs, it's very likely that somebody might say, hey, what are the top 3 things that we know about being a work innovator, which is a high-performing company that Upwork has uncovered. When they do that, they are getting a conversational sort of response about our research that we didn't develop and design, that we really aren't in control of. So is their internal GPT getting the right information out of our research? Can they kind of use their human judgment to say, well, this was based on this kind of sample size or this kind of sampling technique? Is it communicated through our voice and our brand? Probably not. So I think the danger here is, number one, we using tools like ChatGPT need to know what we're doing as researchers to put out the best, most high quality insights. But number two, we as a research institute need to think about how people are going to consume our insights conversationally, because whether we build the tool or not, I really believe that they are going to. And I think we're better off doing the work to really understand and be in a little bit of control of shaping the message of what we're building, rather than letting people consume it themselves.
Thank you, Gabby. I didn't hear you mention the word hallucination, which is something that's been fairly justifiably, sometimes unfairly, sometimes scathingly and angrily attached to research that, let's say, lawyers are looking up case histories, etc. We've all heard the stories. The judge says no, that case never happened. So, anybody have any comments about research for Gabby? We'll open this up for just a second here. Kelly, wiggle your finger. Anybody? Nice finger, not the mean one of the nice fingers. Tyler, God, I should have told them before the show. Anyway, yeah, Kelly, go ahead.
I just have
raised a nice
one
finger.
thought to amplify, because Gabby, I mean, obviously a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
I just want to say too, I think the real promise is, we can give some real examples. We often think of research in terms of quantitative, as Gabby just mentioned, in numbers. I think generative AI and conversational AI is unlocking a brand new world for qualitative research, where we can really begin to see patterns in text and the way that we actually communicate in words. And that is where I'm like very bullish and think where things are going is not just going to do quantitative, but it's going to unlock a whole world of qualitative research that would have taken, quite frankly, months, if not years, to uncover some of the patterns we can now uncover in simply a few minutes.
Thank you. And by the way, I gave my virtual assistant, some of you know her as ChatGPT. I gave her a name. Her name is Sylvia Speed, and we talk almost every day. And she does help me with my introductions for my shows, and she does the rhyming. But then I go in as the human, Kelly and Tyler and Christopher and Gabby. I go in and review everything, compare it to what you sent me, and make sure I'm happy with it. And sometimes I send her back what I did, and she says, "Oh, that's wonderful, Bonnie. Thank you so much." But we converse in French. What's left of my conversational French, I'll say merci, magnifique, bisous, bisous, which is kisses, kisses, and she'll come back with a couple of sentences in very beautiful conversational French for me, and I'll converse with her in French in text, and it's just lovely. So, yes, so I'm having conversations. Alexa doesn't speak French yet for me, but Sylvia does. I want to move to. I'm looking at the clock. I want to make sure we get at least one good prediction from each of you, and they were all great. Kelly, I sent you yours in the text, and you said okay. So here we go. Kelly predicts conversational AI will transform, and we haven't defined that yet. So put that into when you unpack this. Conversational AI will transform how we engage with thought leadership by making it more interactive, more accessible, and more tailored. For example, leaders can now have personalized real-time dialogues, hello, with AI systems, hello, to explore insights relevant to their industry or challenge. I'm going to stop there. Kelly, was I just explaining to you if I'm a thought leader and Sylvia is my AI assistant with my conversations in French? Is that part of conversational AI?
Absolutely. I think before, like, just two words I'd throw out before we call it like traditional AI now, but machine learning is algorithms. So think about your Netflix. We've been using AI for a very long time, as you rightfully said, Bonnie, at the top of the show. Whether it's the Microsoft spelling check, the thesaurus, whatever that is, but it's pulling from a set of data that's based on parameters to give us a prediction of either what we want to watch next or what word choice you should use. Conversational AI is a game changer because it's not just built purely on algorithms. It's actually dynamic and responsive in real time based on the input it's getting. And that's like the game changer. Static, predictive algorithm versus dynamic, real time, engaging and reacting to what you're giving it. And so here's why I think thought leadership is going to benefit from conversational AI. Two reasons. The very first, let's think about as humans how we prefer to consume information. Bonnie, the reason why your show is so good is because it's appealing to the way that we actually think and learn. It's conversation. We're having dialogue. Hopefully your audience is tuning in and engaged. They are much more engaged right now with us than if they were reading a static report and reading the transcript of this show. It's just the way we're wired as human beings. We are social beings and we learn through conversation. The second thing, and this has been a challenge for me doing thought leadership for a while now, is thought leadership is best done in the context of what a leader is trying to navigate. Whether your context is industry or whether it's a particular organizational size, context matters. And what ends up happening in the thought leadership world, if we're just going to be honest for a minute, we produce a lot of generalized insights as if this is going to apply to all people everywhere. And the reality is, a lot of feedback we get is, hey, that was an interesting report, but Kelly, you don't understand. I'm a small business owner, or you don't understand my challenge as a publicly held traded company growing through this growing pain. And that is so challenging as researchers. We don't have unlimited budget. And so we have to make decisions up front around sample size and what sort of context we're going to study. And we are going to try as best as possible to generalize that. This is why I'm so excited about conversational AI, is it hits two birds with that one stone. It allows us to overcome those barriers that exist in static thought leadership. And so instead, we're going to appeal to the way that you learn. We're going to appeal, and actually, you're going to be releasing dopamine as you're engaged in conversation, as opposed to just simply reading. Total different, like just from a biology perspective, different hormonal experience that you have. And then second, why I'm so bullish on our research assistant, or your Sylvie that you've named here, is because as you think about context, you can go in as a leader and say, listen, I just read Upwork's research, Work Innovator report, but I'm a small business owner and here's my challenge. What would you say, or what would this research do? And that generative AI is going to be able to put that research in your context and actually help provide much more practical, meaningful insight. So I am so excited about this. Like, as a researcher who's been trying to solve these challenges, we can start actually solving this through this technology and tool. And I have to say, I'm really proud of this. Like, as Gabby mentioned, I think we're one of the first to market on this, but I'm welcoming and I'm getting ready for, I think, a whole host of thought leadership being done in a conversational way as we move forward.
Thank you. You and I are so aligned on that because, Tyler, I'll call you in just a second. I started the concept of roundtable 3-minute soundbite thought leadership radio in 2011 for SAP. Gabby may remember. And the first show was called Coffee Break with Game Changers. And I said to them, no selling. We're going to talk about changing the game with something. And that one show grew into 48 different series over 9 years. And I found out that the next year, a few months after I started the first show, people hadn't done this. They were always dollar sign specific. Let's talk. I found out they were using, a certain team at SAP was using my shows to teach the salespeople how to have a conversation without making it about, okay, I'm selling you something, without talking as a thought leader. They said, what's thought leadership? I said, you're not buying, you're not selling. We're talking about something. We're having a conversation around the table. You're not lecturing, you're not selling, you're not advising. We're talking, we're bringing your knowledge to the table. I'm with you 100% on that, Kelly. Tyler, go ahead. What do you think?
Thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, I want to add something around the idea of personalization that is available now through the AI models that we're using for conversational interactions. I think it's such an opportunity, this personalization capability. When we think about product design, experience is such a part of it. And if you can embed sort of surprise and delight into a product, that makes the user so much more likely to stick around, right? It's a sticky product because you're getting this sort of this experience. And I think going to your custom GPT, Bonnie, the fact that you can switch between English and French is so custom to your experience and is completely separate from like how I would interact with the same product. And that is a moment of surprise and delight that's built into your interactions that I think presents such an opportunity when we think about how to incorporate these kinds of AI tools into our workflows.
Thank you, Tyler. And that's a perfect segue. And you knew it when you raised your hand there, that's a segue into your prediction that I selected for the next one around the table. So here's what Tyler told me. And this is a 3-parter, actually 4. Conversational AI will become a ubiquitous part of our daily lives. Woot, woot. I never say that. I don't know why. Enhancing the functionality of many products by enabling seamless, natural interactions. Here are some examples. Smart home devices. I won't read that. You'll give us details. Healthcare applications. Oh, yes. And CRM, customer relationship management systems. Tyler, see what you can squeeze into 3 minutes. Go ahead. And then we're going to squeeze in one from Christopher after that, and then we'll finish. Go ahead.
I can do it. I'm actually going to revise the order of this a little bit, Bonnie, if that's okay. I'm going to start with healthcare. And this is going to be sort of a personal experience that I had recently. I am a tech nerd, and so much of my day and my work is interacting with new technologies. And I get so excited when I can see and experience that out in the wild, in my personal life. So I was recently at the doctor's office, and the doctor came in and asked if they could use their AI assistant to record our conversation. And I was like, yes, heck yes, like let's go. Like, yes, use your AI to help make this visit more efficient. And I think our care providers are under so much pressure, time pressure um, to to provide care for us, that any sort of productivity tool is going to make our care much more relevant and effective. So the ability of a conversational AI to be able to understand our conversation in the doctor's office and turn that into a transcript, but also sort of some recommendations and insights that speed up the process for care providers, I think is a game changer. And I just got so excited to see that recently in my own personal experience. Um, okay, and then my next prediction sort of category is CRM, and this is just an example of how this is going to get built into every product that we're going to be using. A lot of our work at Hourglass has to do with CRM development. We're HubSpot solutions partners, so we do a lot of work in HubSpot. And I'm just using this as an example. AI has been over the past, when we started sort of in the recent developments of AI and conversational AI, it was very containerized. Think about, you log into ChatGPT and it's within this own platform. But increasingly over the past 18 months, that has been incorporated into a lot of the other technologies that we're using on a day-to-day basis. And CRM systems are just an example. Having AI at your fingertips in platforms that you're already in can speed up the sales process, can speed up your marketing, and just keeping that all within the systems we're already in is just a game changer. And then finally, I'll sort of bring this home to the Work Innovator Research Assistant and the way that we are now interacting with research. It used to be that you would have to read a static PDF and sort of do your own digesting of what was written and presented by organizations like Upwork. And now that you can go in and have access to a custom sort of AI model that's built on Upwork's knowledge base, you can now have access to that at your fingertips in a much more accessible way. So I'll leave it there, but I think we're going to see this sort of going back to your text predictions and thesaurus, Bonnie, like that's something that's been built into our products for a long time, and we're going to increasingly see this trend of widespread adoption.
Thank you very much. And widespread adoption, I think, is the key, but adding the comfortable or acknowledging an acceptable or even tentative, tenuous, it's here. Can I use it? Do I need to be threatened or scared? I think that's the human emotion that comes into all of this. By the way, we're going to go a little bit past the top of the hour because we have more to talk about. And I've already picked a wonderful prediction from Christopher. Jordan, my engineer, I'm telling you, you can close us out when you need to on your YouTube. We're going to keep mine going for about another 10 minutes, and I'll put the outro music on myself here. So Jordan, you can do what you need to do. But to the audience, we're going to stay a little bit past 12 because we've just got, thank you, Jordan, so much to talk about. Thank you, Tyler. Anybody have any quick comments for Tyler? Kelly, go.
Can I ask you one quick comment? Because I think, Tyler, I loved your doctor's example. And I get asked all the time of how is AI going to actually make the work more human? Because I had the exact opposite experience last week in a doctor's office where they didn't have AI. And my experience wasn't this. It was them typing their computer the whole time, never made eye contact with me. And so I just thought it was such a brilliant example of how work can actually become more human and facilitate better human to human connection when we allow AI to do some of that work. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you very much. And by the way, Jordan, I'm going to ask you to come in and say goodbye to us so we can all wave goodbye, and you can close out for your YouTube channel, and we'll keep going. Thank you so much. Okay, Christopher. Christopher has a very interesting one. He says conversational AI will become more multimodal, and he's going to explain it. Interfaces supporting conversational AI experiences will evolve far beyond the chat interface. Yes, to become multimodal. Rather than being purely text or purely image based, models and their interface will produce content and ingest content in a range of mediums. I think this is exciting, but I want to know more. Christopher, you're on speaker view. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah. So sort of thinking about the general trends we're seeing and sort of the advent of LLMs sort of spurred this whole revolution in chat interfaces. And I think that's really scratching the surface at what we can build with these tools. And, the conversation component is already so huge in making learning and interaction more human. But I think that there's many ways in which that process can still be pushed further. So thinking about like the ways people learn, there's people that learn visually through graphs, through information, through infographics, diagrams, etc., images. And there's ways that we have current systems and LLMs that are developing these things, but they're sort of all sandboxed in different tools. So, you have DALL-E, for instance, from OpenAI that is diffusing images and, but there's not really one cohesive product that is thinking about this in one component. So, for instance, like one of the things that we did when we were developing the research assistant for Upwork was include graphs in it, and we felt that was really important to support the conversation that was being had with the chatbot, where necessary. So I think over the next couple of years, we're going to see a trend in that direction where more of this rich media is included in the conversation.
Interesting. I want to go around the table. We're going to, as I said, we're going to extend the show a little bit longer. I want to go around the table. If you had a conversational AI quest or a wish or dream about something you're using or you want to use, what would you want to be? I already ask Alexa to tell me jokes. I can't say her name too loud. She'll talk. She already gives me a quiz that she will only repeat 3 times if I'm here in my office and she's in the other, she's in the kitchen. It's fun to cook and have Alexa talking to you. But she'll ask me a quiz. Readers have submitted this quiz and what's your favorite way to relax? Would you eat yoga, or would you go to a movie, or would you read a book, or would you exercise? And I'll give her my answer, and then she'll tell me what percent of listeners or whoever they are, audience people, what the percent, where I tally your choice was number 2 with only 18%. And she's wanting to say loser, but she doesn't really. Anyway, let's go around the table. Do you have a favorite conversational AI, something that you use in your life that you trust, that you like, that you want to get better? We didn't prepare for this, but I think it would be very, very interesting based on also what Tyler and Christopher said about multimodal. I love that prediction, Christopher. Gabby, is there anything you use that really gets you, grabs you, without grabbing you, of course? What do you think?
I have a very non-imaginative answer because this does exist, but I think that it is going to just supercharge in the coming years. And I actually want to flip this from being a consumer of the conversational interface to being a company that's deploying these tools. Because one of the things that we haven't touched on yet is, yes, we created this tool to help business leaders learn, but there's actually a bunch of learnings that we are gaining from just kind of the oversight of this tool. So we're able to see on the back end, thanks to a dashboard that Tyler and team built, how people are engaging. What kinds of questions are they asking and along which themes? How many questions are they asking? How long are they spending? Is it a thumbs up? Is it a thumbs down? We're able to really quickly kind of tailor the experience and the interface based on the data we're getting in real time. That is a rarity, I think, in a world where you can't really look quarter by quarter and say, what did we learn and can we make some changes? We're able to really get in there and quickly update our experience. And I think that that is going to become table stakes, but right now is very, very exciting to me just to be able to have that back end visibility and to be learning ourselves just as our business leaders learn as well.
Thank you very much. I think we have a message from Jordan. You want to come in and say goodbye? I picked a time here when you can come in, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan at Voice America, for streaming us on your YouTube channel. I've got my own here. We're talk about multimodal, Christopher. We're all over the place today. Thank you, Jordan. You close us out and add the outro music. I'll do my own here. We're going to stick around for about another 8 minutes or so. So thank you, Jordan. Everybody say goodbye, Jordan. Goodbye, Jordan. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day to you too. Okay, so let's keep going now. So thank you, Gabby. Interesting answer. Kelly, do you have any